Hey, can I ask you something? Have you ever been in a meeting at work and someone asked you a question in English and your mind just went completely blank? You understood the question, you knew the answer, but the words just wouldn't come out. That happened to my friend Tom last month. He started a brand new job, good company, good salary, and on his very first week, his manager asked him in a team meeting, "Can you give us an update on your progress?" And Tom froze. He knew what he wanted to say. He just didn't know how to say it in English. And in that moment, the silence felt like forever. I'm Leo. I'm Tina. And today we're going to make sure that never happens to you. We're going to talk about jobs and the workplace in English. And we're not just going to give you a vocabulary list and send you home. No. We're going to show you exactly how real English sounds at work. From the moment you apply for a job, to your first day, to your daily conversations, to asking for a raise. All of it. Real language, real situations, and a few embarrassing stories from our own lives that we probably shouldn't tell, but we will. So stay with us, because by the end of this conversation, you're going to feel so much more confident talking about work in English. Ready? Let's go. So Tina, let's start with something real. How was your day yesterday? Honestly, Leo, I was exhausted. I had 3 meetings, back to back, no break, no coffee, nothing. And then after all of that, I had to finish writing a report. I didn't leave the office until 7 in the evening. 7 o'clock? That's not a work day, that's a sentence. I know. But the report is done, it's sent, and I feel so much better now. How about you? How was your weekend? My weekend was actually really relaxing. Saturday, I did absolutely nothing, which was amazing. Sunday, I met up with my friend Tom at a coffee shop, and we talked for about 2 hours. What did you talk about? Work, actually. Tom just started a new job last month, and he was telling me all about it. He's excited, but also really nervous. And while he was talking, I realized something. Talking about work in English has so many layers. There are specific words, specific phrases, specific ways of saying things. It can be really tricky if you haven't practiced. And that's exactly why we're here today. So let's start from the very beginning. Let's imagine you don't have a job yet. You're looking. What's the first thing you do? You start by looking for job openings. These days, most people search online. Websites like LinkedIn or Indeed are very popular. You can also go directly to a company's website and check their careers page. And sometimes, honestly, the best opportunities come from people you already know. That's called networking. Someone tells someone who tells someone, and suddenly you have an interview. So once you find a job opening you like, what do? You apply, and applying usually means sending 2 things, your resume and your cover letter. Now, your resume is a document that shows your education, your work experience, and your skills. Think of it as a summary of your professional life on 1 or 2 pages. In British English, by the way, they call it a CV, curriculum vitae. But in American English, we say resume. And the cover letter? The cover letter is different. It's not a list of facts like the resume. It's more personal. It's a letter where you explain why you want this specific job and why you're the right person for it. And let me tell you, I spent so much time on my cover letter when I was applying for my current job. I rewrote it 5 times. 5 times? 5 times. Because I wanted it to sound natural but professional. I wanted them to read it and think, yes, this is the person we need. First impressions matter so much, even before they meet you. Absolutely. And then, if the company likes what they see, they contact you to schedule an interview. And this is where many people start to panic. I get nervous before interviews too, honestly. Even now, thinking about it makes me a little tense. Same, but here's the thing. Interviews follow patterns. They almost always ask the same types of questions. So if you prepare, you can walk in feeling so much more confident. So what are the most common interview questions? The most common one, without question, is tell me about yourself. Now, this sounds simple, but it trips people up all the time because it's so open. The trick is to structure your answer. Talk about your background, your experience, and then where you want to go. Keep it professional and keep it focused on why you're right for this job. What else do they ask? They always ask, why do you want this job? And for this one, you need to do your research. You need to know something about the company, what they do, what they value, what makes them different, and then connect that to your own goals. Don't just say, because I need money, even if that's true, the pay the bills answer. Classic. Then there's the strengths and weaknesses question, and I think this is the one that makes people the most uncomfortable. Yes, because you don't want to sound arrogant when talking about strengths, and you definitely don't want to say something that makes them not hire you when talking about weaknesses. Exactly. For strengths, choose things that are directly relevant to the job. If it's a team-focused position, say something like, I work really well in a team environment. I communicate clearly and I enjoy collaborating with others. And then give a quick example to back it up. And for weaknesses, be honest, but always show what you're doing about it. For example, you might say, I used to struggle with public speaking, but I've been taking a course and I've been volunteering to present in team meetings to practice. See, you're not hiding the weakness. You're showing growth. You're showing self-awareness. Employers love that. Okay, so the interview goes well. They call you, they offer you the job. What happens next? You accept the offer. You might say something like, I'm very happy to accept this position. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And then there's usually a contract to sign. The contract is a legal document that includes your job title, your salary, your working hours, your responsibilities, and other important terms. Please read it carefully before you sign. Every word matters. Don't just smile and sign because you're excited. Read it, then ask questions if anything is unclear. You can always say, could you explain this part of the contract? It's completely normal and actually shows you're serious. Alright, so now you have the job, contract signed. And it's your first day. How do you feel? Terrified. When I started my current job, I was so nervous I arrived 30 minutes early because I was scared of traffic, scared of getting lost, scared of everything. 30 minutes early is a lot, I know. But honestly, I'd rather wait in my car for 20 minutes than walk in late. Because being late on your first day sends completely the wrong message. So I sat in my car, listened to music, took some deep breaths, and then walked in at exactly the right time. Smart. And what happened when you got inside? My boss welcomed me and gave me a tour of the office. She showed me where everything was, the meeting rooms, the break room, the kitchen, where to put my things. And then she started introducing me to my new colleagues. And colleagues means the people you work with, right? Yes. Colleague is a professional word for the people in your workplace. You can also say co-worker. They mean essentially the same thing. And meeting so many new colleagues on the first day is wonderful, but also overwhelming. I tried to remember everyone's names, I really did. Did you? I remembered maybe 3. By the end of the day, I had completely forgotten the rest. And I felt so bad about it. That's completely normal. It honestly takes weeks to remember everyone's names, and no one expects you to get it on day 1. Then my boss sat down with me and explained my job duties. Job duties are your responsibilities, the tasks that are part of your role. What are yours, Leo? Well, I'm an administrative assistant. So my job duties include answering phone calls, managing my boss's schedule, organizing files, preparing documents for meetings, ordering office supplies, and generally making sure everything in the office runs smoothly. That's a lot of different tasks, it is. But I like the variety, and I've developed a system over time. When I arrive in the morning, the first thing I do is check my emails. I go through them, respond to anything urgent, and then I make a list of everything I need to do that day. Having that list really helps me stay organized and not forget anything. A to-do list. Simple, but so effective. Then I usually have phone calls to make, confirming appointments, following up with clients, contacting suppliers, and after that, I work on whatever projects my boss has given me. It could be creating a spreadsheet, preparing a presentation, writing a report. It really changes day to day. What about lunch? Do you take a proper break? Yes, 1 hour. From 12 to 1. And I think this is so important. Some people skip lunch or eat at their desk because they think it makes them look more productive. But you need that break. Your brain needs to rest. And having lunch with your colleagues is actually really valuable. It is. You talk, you laugh, you get to know each other as people, not just as job titles. And those relationships make such a difference in how much you enjoy your work. Okay, so you come back from lunch. What does the afternoon look like? More tasks, sometimes meetings. And I always take notes in meetings. Always. Because there's so much information discussed and decisions made, and you cannot rely on your memory alone. I write down the key points, who said what actions were agreed on, and then I can refer back to it later. Smart. And what time do you finish? 5 o'clock. And I try very hard to leave at 5. Because work-life balance is really important to me. Work-life balance means having a healthy balance between your professional life and your personal life. If you work too much, you burn out, you get tired, you lose motivation, and eventually your work quality suffers anyway. So it actually helps your work when you step away from it. Do you ever work overtime? Occasionally. Overtime means working extra hours beyond your normal schedule. Sometimes it's necessary, especially before a big deadline. But it shouldn't be every day. And in many companies, you get paid extra for overtime, which is nice. Now let's talk about something that's become really common. Working from home. Do you work from home? I have a hybrid arrangement. Hybrid means some days at home, some days in the office. I go to the office on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Monday and Friday, I work from home. And do you like it? I love the days at home. No commute. My commute to the office is 45 minutes each way. So on home days, I save an hour and a half. That's an hour and a half I can spend exercising, cooking a proper breakfast, spending time with my family. That's significant. And I can work in comfortable clothes, which is not a small thing after spending years in formal office wear. But are there any downsides to working from home? Yes, I sometimes feel isolated. I miss bumping into colleagues, having those quick conversations by the coffee machine, and sometimes at home there are distractions. My cat walks across my keyboard at the worst moments. The keyboard cat. Every single time I'm in the middle of something important. Okay, let's talk about something that everyone experiences at work. Problems, things going wrong, mistakes. Let's be honest about this because it happens to everyone. It really does. And one of the most important things you can learn is how to handle problems professionally. So, have you ever made a big mistake at work? Yes. One time, I was supposed to send an important document to a client, and I sent it to the completely wrong email address. I sent a confidential document to a stranger. Oh no. I realized about an hour later. My heart dropped. I immediately went to my boss and told him exactly what happened. He was not happy, but he told me he appreciated that I was upfront about it. We contacted the right client, apologized, and resolved the situation. How did you feel after? Awful, but also relieved that I hadn't tried to hide it, because that would have made everything worse. And my boss said something I've never forgotten. He said, "Everyone makes mistakes. The people who grow are the ones who own them and learn from them." That's a really good boss. I know I'm lucky. What about you? I had a conflict with a colleague once. We were working on a project together and we had completely different visions for how it should be done. Both of us thought we were right. What did you do? At first, we both just kept pushing our own ideas and getting nowhere. It was frustrating and the tension was starting to affect the whole team. So finally, we agreed to sit down, just the two of us, and have a real conversation. Not an argument. A conversation. We actually listened to each other. And we found a compromise. A compromise means finding a middle ground. Both people give a little, both people gain a little. Exactly. And the final result was actually better than either of our original ideas would have been, because we combined the best parts of both. Good communication really is the solution to almost every workplace problem. It is, and that includes communication with your boss. If you don't understand something, ask. You can say, "I want to make sure I understand. Could you explain that again? Or could you give me an example?" Nobody expects you to read minds, and if you need help from a colleague, just ask. Asking for help is not weakness, it's wisdom. You could say, "Do you have a few minutes? I'm having trouble with this and I'd love your input." Most people are happy to help when you ask nicely. And giving updates to your boss is also really important. You don't wait until the deadline to let them know how things are going. You check in. You might say, "I wanted to update you on where things stand with the project. I've finished the research phase and I'm now working on the first draft." And if things are not going well, then you say that too, as soon as possible. You might say, "I've run into some challenges with this project and I may need a couple of extra days. Is that possible?" Or, I'd like to talk through some difficulties I'm having. Could we find a time to meet? Bosses almost always prefer honesty over silence. Missing a deadline without warning is much worse than asking for an extension in advance. Okay, let's talk about something exciting. Promotions and raises. Because this is something everyone thinks about, but not everyone knows how to handle. A promotion is when you move up to a higher position, more responsibility, more leadership, usually more money. A raise is when your salary increases, but your title stays the same. And salary, by the way, is the money you earn from your job, usually paid monthly or every 2 weeks. Different from a wage, which is usually calculated hourly. So how do you get a promotion or a raise? You work hard, you do your job well, and you show initiative. Initiative means not waiting to be told what to do. You see something that needs to be done and you do it. You find a problem and you solve it before anyone asks you to. Companies love employees who think proactively. And when do you ask? When you've built up a track record, when you have evidence. And yes, you do have to ask. It doesn't just happen automatically. You schedule a meeting with your boss and you come prepared. You bring examples of your accomplishments, projects you led, problems you solved, results you produced. And you can say, I'd like to discuss my role and my compensation. I believe my contributions have grown significantly and I'd like to talk about what that looks like going forward. Have you actually done this? I have. Last year, I was nervous for weeks before the meeting. But I prepared so carefully. I made a list of everything I had achieved in the past year. I researched average salaries for my position to make sure my request was reasonable. And I walked in feeling ready. And what happened? My boss said yes. I was so relieved and happy and proud of myself for having the courage to ask. Because if you never ask, the answer is always no. Now let's talk about leaving a job. Because sometimes the right move is to move on. Leaving a job is called resigning. When you resign, you give your employer a resignation letter. This is a formal written notice that you're leaving, and you also serve your notice period. That's the time between when you tell them you're leaving and your actual last day, usually 2 weeks, sometimes a month. This gives the company time to prepare, to find someone new, to hand over your responsibilities properly. And is it okay to leave a job? Absolutely. People change jobs for so many reasons. Better opportunities, higher salary, wanting to change industries, moving to a new city, personal reasons. It's completely normal. The average person changes jobs many times throughout their career. And when you leave, try to leave well. Give proper notice. Finish your work properly. Say genuine goodbyes. Because the professional world is smaller than you think. Your former colleagues might be your future references, your future clients, your future employers. Networking doesn't stop when you leave. It continues. Exactly. The relationships you build at work are part of your professional identity. Take care of them. All right, let's quickly go over the key vocabulary we use today so it really sticks. Resume. The document you send when applying for a job. It shows your education, experience, and skills. Interview. The formal meeting where an employer asks you questions to decide if you're right for the position. Colleague. The people you work with. A professional word for co-worker. Salary. The money you earn from your job, usually paid monthly. Deadline. The date or time by which you must complete something. Missing a deadline is a serious problem in most workplaces. Shift. Your scheduled working period. Some people work day shifts, some work nights, some have rotating schedules. Overtime. Working extra hours beyond your normal schedule. Commute. The journey between your home and your workplace. Some commutes are short. Some, like mine, are 45 minutes. Promotion. Moving up to a higher position within your company. Resign. To officially leave your job. Feedback. Information from your boss or colleagues about how you're doing and how you can improve. And work-life balance. Having enough time and energy for both your job and your personal life. 12 words. But they will come up again and again and again in any English workplace conversation. Use them, practice them, and they will become natural. Now let's quickly review the situations we covered. Looking for a job, writing your resume and cover letter, preparing for an interview, starting a new job, navigating daily work life, working from home versus the office, handling mistakes and conflicts, giving updates and asking for help, asking for a promotion or a raise, and resigning professionally. That is the full journey, from no job to leaving a job. And now you have the English to talk about every single step. So here is our question of the day. We genuinely love this part. What is your current job? Or if you're a student, what is your dream job and why? Write it in the comments. Tell us what you do, what you enjoy about it, what's hard about it. Write as much or as little as you want. This is your chance to practice your English writing in a real way. We read every comment. We love hearing your stories, and it helps us understand what topics to cover in future videos. One last thing before we go. If you found today's lesson useful, please give this video a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it genuinely helps this channel reach more people who are trying to learn English just like you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Hit the bell too so you get notified every time we post. You are doing something hard. Learning a language as an adult takes real dedication. And the fact that you're here, watching, listening, practicing, that means you're serious about it. Be proud of that. Keep going. The progress might feel slow sometimes, but it's happening. Every video you watch, every word you practice, every comment you write in English, it all adds up. We'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.